Welcome back then guys to this live stream. It is now time for the qualifying session for IFMC GP2 and it should be hopefully a very exciting day of action. If you didn't see what happened 3 weeks ago for IFMC GP2, it was very interesting indeed, of course, and it ended up with 3 drivers having a qualifying ban for this weekend. These 3 drivers including Sergei Sirotkin, Joel Eriksson and Sean Galal, all 3 for separate incidents, so only 19 cars will be taking part in this qualifying session. And of course we do have a title decider in GP2 as well, between the 2 Red Bull Academy drivers, between Felix Rosenqvist and George Russell. It's a bit of a tall order for George Russell, considering he is 14 points back from Felix Rosenqvist in the Drivers' Championship, but it is still doable. So, anything can happen throughout this weekend, but we will wait and see. As you can see, bright and sunny conditions again for the qualifying session for IFMC GP2, and without further ado then guys, let's get to that session. So, here we are then in the pit lane. The likes of Sirotkin, Galal and Eriksson will be watching from the sidelines. And we're going to go from the end of the pit lane with Dan Ticktum. So we will wait and get this session underway. It is a 35-minute session as per usual, as we wait for the first set of cars to get out onto the track. And for the third... for the third successive season, the championship again going down to Abu Dhabi, and the 4th successive season that the championship has gone down to the final weekend for IFMC GP2, but this time around it is between only a team really, between its 2 drivers, Rosenqvist and Russell. Speaking of one of them, here is George Russell coming out on the track, one of the championship contenders, and he has to hope that he can get a good weekend underneath him if he wants to take the championship this weekend. He's 14 points back from teammate Felix Rosenqvist in the Drivers' Championship, so it is a lot to play for, but he will give it his damn good shot if he wants to walk out of here at the end of the weekend with the championship in his hands. As now we approach the left-hander, Russell is preparing to start his first flying lap now. Then also on the track we have Luca Ghiotto. He'll be the only EMR on the track, considering that Sergei Sirotkin has a qualifying ban. We also have Lucas Shaw out there, Dan Ticktum, Santiago Uricia, Lando Norris has come out onto the track, as has Nobuhiro Matsushita, Louis Razia, Yuri Vips, Mitch Evans, Sasha Fenestraz, Lance Stroll, Sergio Setikamara, and that is that really. So in total, I think that's around either 13 or 12 cars that will be coming out on the track, as Russell now then will approach the left-right-left chicane on the track as he flicks the car in through these section of corners. Russell preparing to start his first flying lap now then, as he flicks the car in through that left-hander. Out the turn he goes, using that tad bit of curb on the outside as he makes his way in towards the triple right-hander. As Russell now then into the right-hander he goes, and then into the left. And Russell now then just coming off the turn before approaching the left-hander, as he will now approach the final 2 turns on the track. Russell now then just flicking the car in as he uses the curb on the outside up towards the final corner. Then goes George Russell as he will now head down the pit straight. And Russell now then starts his lap as he will now come up towards the first corner now then. And Russell using the curb on the outside, and into turns 2 and 3 he will go. As he comes out of the turn now then, heading down the hill before approaching the left-right-left chicane. Into the bus stop we go, through the left, then the right, and then up towards the hairpin we will go. And Russell just coming off the turn now then, as he heads down this long straight before approaching the chicane. And Russell on his lap now then, as he goes flat out down this straight now then, along with everybody else that's now just coming down the straight itself. Russell really needing to do well this weekend if he wants to win the championship this weekend away from Rosenqvist. Remember, as mentioned a couple of times now, he is 14 points back from his teammate going into this weekend. As Russell comes out of the chicane, heading down the support pit straight, as he will now approach the left-right-left chicane on the track. Russell now then coming up towards the turn, as he will now go into the chicane round the left, then the right, and then into the left-hander again. As Russell comes off the turn now, then round the left-hander he goes. As uses that tad bit of curb on the outside, as he will now approach the triple right-hander. And so far it has been a tidy lap for George Russell. But let's see if he's on for a good lap then. Round the left-hander, he'll be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat. Out of the left-hander, up towards the final 2 turns then goes George Russell. As he comes out of the turn, using the curb on the outside, and up towards the final corner goes George Russell. And let's see what the Brit is able to do as he comes down the pit straight, and Russell will cross the line. And what's the time going to be? It's a 1:43.654 as it's P2 for Luca Giotto. He goes there. As now we look at Lucas Jura in the Vortex car. It's P3 for the Austrian. Santiago Urrutia comes around the final turn himself as he heads down the pit straight, and Urrutia now then will cross the line. And let's see what he's able to do. It's P3 for the Uruguay driver, so P3 for Santiago Urrutia. Here comes Lando Norris, who comes out of the final turn and onto the pit straight himself. Norris now then goes across the line, and it's P2 for Norris. So up to second place goes Lando Norris. As we now look at Nobuharu Matsushita, he will now approach the final turn. And let's see what Matsushita can manage then, as he will now come across the line. And Matsushita goes up to 4th with that lap, so it's P4 for Nobuharu Matsushita. Louis Razia now then will come across the line, and it's P3 for Razia. So that's that for him. Yuri Vips goes 6th for that lap. Here comes Mitch Evans, it's P10 for him. As we now look at Sasha Fenestraz, who will now cross the line, and it's P2 for Fenestraz. A very good time from the Frenchman, as it's P1 for Lance Stroll. So Stroll now goes fastest. So P1 for Lance Stroll pushes Russell down to 2nd. It's P8 for Sergio Sette Camara. As that's that then in terms of those laps. So at the moment, it is currently Lance Stroll that is fastest for the moment, ahead of George Russell. And running at the top 3 is where is 3rd place? The man who's running at the top 3 is Sasha Fenestraz. So some really surprising times from Stroll and Fenestraz on that first flying lap there, but we've still got a lot of time left to go, and it was 13 cars that was out on the track, as we have just over 29 minutes of the qualifying session remaining to determine the grid for tomorrow's feature race here at Abu Dhabi, as Russell now goes into pit lane, as he'll soon flick on the pit limiter, I should say. There's Sirotkin watching on from the sidelines. Whether he will be at EMR next season, same with Giotto, it will remain to be seen. As into pit lane then goes Rosenquist. Russell, that's the wrong Red Bull Academy drive. So it's Stroll from Russell, Fenestraz, Norris and Razia. So only 3 tenths separating the top 5 at the moment at this stage. So very close indeed in this qualifying session, as Kamara now then makes his way round the chicane. Around the chicane he goes, as he will now approach the left-hander on the track as he comes off the turn. And of course this is Academy's home race, of course, so Academy looking to do a good job this weekend if they can. Etihad Racing looking to put on a show for their adoring fans here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and same in the top class for Ed Jones, as this is his home race in the Mars Grand Prix car. He'll be looking to put on a show for his fans as well. As now we look at Sergio Sette Camara, who's going to go back into the pits, in the entrance of the pit lane he goes, as we have just over 28 minutes of the qualifying session remaining, as Rosenquist goes out on the track, the current championship leader, who could be in a prime position providing he does well in this session to wrap up the championship tomorrow in the feature race. He won't be able to do it in this qualifying session, so his only shot will be to do it tomorrow in the feature race. So here's Rosenquist now then, as he comes out of the chicane and up towards the hairpin goes the Swede. Sorry about that, as Rosenquist now then comes up towards the chicane, round the left and right hander we go, as he uses the curb on the outside there then, as he will now approach the chicane. And Rosenquist now then will go down the straight before approaching this chicane now then, as sparks come off the back of his Red Bull Academy car, round the left, then the right, and then into the left-hander. And now he will, I think he's just come out of the second sector actually, as he will now approach the triple right-hander. Rosenquist about to start his first flying lap in this session. Also on the track, we have Alex Lynn in the Macamo car, Norman Nato, Jolyon Palmer, Nick de Vries, Pierre Gasly, Lucas Jura, Sasha Fenestraz, Dan Ticktum, Yuri Vips, Lando Norris is coming out of the pit lane, as is George Russell, and we'll be expecting Evans to also join these guys as well. Here comes Rosenquist then, who rounds the final turn and heading down the pit straight, as Rosenquist now then starts his lap, as he will now come up towards turn 1, and so around turn 1 we go, as the curb gets used on the outside as he goes around turns 2, and then around turn 3 he will go, and as he heads down the hill towards the left chicane, so as a lot of flicking going on there for Felix Rosenquist, working very hard in the cockpit, it must be said, and well, that's that really. Looked like he had to make a little bit of a correction in the car, it must be said. And so that's pretty much that then for Rosenquist. So a bit of a mistake there for Felix Rosenquist on his first flying lap as he heads down this long straight before approaching the left-right chicane. And Rosenquist now then flicking the car in, round the left and then into the right-hander he goes. As he uses the curb on the outside, heading down the long straight, as he will soon approach the left chicane on the track, heading down the long straight and then approaching the chicane he will go. Rosenquist braking into the turn now then, round the left, then the right and then into the left-hander again. So Rosenquist now then comes off the turn and then into the left-hander he goes, using the curve on the outside as he'll come up now then towards the triple right-hander. And Rosenquist looking to become the first man in IFMC history to win the GP2 and GP3 titles. Nobody has ever done that before, and Rosenquist looking to become the first to do that as he will now approach the final 2 turns. And let's see what Felix Rosenquist is able to do now then. Round the final turn and onto the pit straight goes the Swede now then. Is Rosenquist going to challenge for pole despite that mistake? Across the line goes Rosenquist and he goes fastest. So Rosenquist to the top of the timing sheet despite that mistake. He goes fastest for the moment in this session. A really good time for Felix Rosenquist to go fastest in this session. Evans just starting a lap. Here comes Jolyon Palmer now then in the Willows Grand Prix car as he now makes his way in towards the right-hander now then around the final 2 turns. And let's see what Palmer can do on his first flying lap, heading down the pit straight and across the line goes Jolyon Palmer and he goes 6th fastest for the moment. So Palmer P6 in the Willows Grand Prix car, as it looks like Nato's lost his front wing, so something has happened to Nato on his first flying lap there. So unfortunate for him, it's a trip to the pitch and a wrecked first flying lap for him, and it's P2 for Nick de Vries. A really good time there. It's P2 for the Dutchman, as it's only 6th for Pierre Gasly in the Academy car. So P6 for the Frenchman in his final weekend in GP2 before he moves to the top class next season with Shadow Mercedes. Lucas Jura improves but only up to 14th place, only getting a place with that time. Here comes Sasha Fenestraz, currently 5th at the moment. Let's see what the Frenchman can do as he comes down the pit straight. Fenestraz now then will cross the line and he remains 5th with that lap. No improvement for Sasha Fenestraz. Here comes Dan Ticktum in the RSPCA racing car. Ticktum crosses the line and improves to go up to 14th, so gaining 2 places with that time there then. Yuri Vips remains 13th for the moment, so no improvement for him, as up to 5th goes Norris, so he improves to get up into P5 to get in front of Fenestraz, his roommate. As now we look at George Russell. His teammate's currently on the pole, but can Russell find some time to get the pole back across the line? And he doesn't. He remains 4th with that lap. This is not looking good for Russell at this stage, as it stays like this, Rosenquist will have a golden opportunity to wrap up the championship tomorrow in the position that he's in. The gap will be up to 16 points between them if it stays like this, as Evans now then comes up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the keyway. And let's see what Evans can do then on this lap. Across the line, and he goes up to 5th with that lap. So it's P5 for Mitch Evans, as Alex Lynn behind starts his lap. As now, let's have a look and see if anybody else is on a lap. Well, it have to be Lynn, of course. Like Lynn might have had a bit of contact with Nato, but it was unseen by the cameras because he did come out of the pits quite late. So I have to question, judging by the amount of laps he's got left. But I'm saying that he just must have come out a little bit late, unless Nato had a crash with somebody else. Then I don't know really, but Lynn out on track very late, it must be said, as he's only just now starting his flying lap as he comes down the straight, as he will now approach the left-right chicane on the track. And Lynn now then about to is currently on a lap, as he's already passed sector 1. He's currently in sector 2 at the moment. Round the chicane he goes. He's currently behind Evans. I think it's Evans. Yes, it is. He'll be able not to get held up by the keyway at this stage, as Lynn looks to get a lap under his belt, heading down the support pit straight before approaching the left chicane on the track now. Then breaking into the chicane goes Alex Lynn. Round the left, then the right, and then into the left-hander again we will go. As Lynn just misses the curb on the outside. Round the left-hander goes Lynn now then, as he will soon approach the triple right-hander. Around the corners he goes, as he will now approach the right-hander on the track. Round the right and then into the left-hander then goes Lynn, as he will now go around the section of corners before approaching the final 2 turns on the track. Into the second to last corner and up towards the final turn goes Alex Lynn. Where will this put the Brit now then, as he heads down the pit straight? The Macamo driver is now going to cross the line, and where's Lynn going to place himself? And it's only P15 on his first run, so maybe Evans gave him a little bit of a hold up, but who knows really. But Lynn only P15 on his first flying lap. There's Louis Razia is out on the track along with Norman Nato, Lance Stroll, and Alex Lynn will be going back into the pits. Nobuharu Matsushita is going to be coming out on the track in a little bit, as Razia now makes his way around the triple right-hander. And who knows really whether he'll be at Willow's Grand Prix next season, considering he's had quite a dreadful season, the Brazilian has had, compared to the other 3 seasons he's been in IFMC GP2. Things haven't really clicked for Louis Razia, and you might think maybe his future could be coming under threat in the Willow's Grand Prix car, but we'll wait and see on that, as Razia comes out of the final turn and onto the pit straight. And Razia now then starts his lap as he makes his way down the pit straight towards the first corner on the track. And so around turn 1 he goes, using the curb on the outside, and into turns 2 and 3 we will go. Round turn 2 and then into turn 3, swooping his way round the right-hander, heading down the hill before approaching the chicane. Round the left, then the right, and then into the left-hander he will go, as he comes around the left-hander on the track as he comes down the straight before approaching the chicane. Also on the track is his teammate Palmer. He's just come out just behind him on the road at this stage. Palmer looking to do another flying lap in just a little bit after he's done his out lap. Heading down the long straight and then into the chicane goes Louis Razia. Into the left and then into the right-hander he will go, as he comes off the turn, heading down the straight before approaching the chicane on the track as he comes down the support pit straight. And the Willows Racing driver now approaches the chicane. Into the left, right and left-hander he will soon go. Into the left, then the right, and then into the left-hander again. And then approaching another 90-degree left-hander he's approached. Round he goes into that left-hander, using a tad bit of curb on the outside as he will now approach the triple right-hander now then. And let's see what the Willows Grand Prix driver can do in this instance. Into underneath the hotel section on the track as he flicks the car in. Razia into the final 2 turns he will go, and let's see if this is going to be an improvement for Louis Razia, as he's currently P11 at this stage. Around the final turn and onto the pit straight, and is Razia looking at an improvement at this stage? Razia crosses the line and remains 11th. No improvement for him there then, as Palmer behind just starts a lap. So we look for somebody else who's currently on a lap. Norman Nato has done a lap a little bit earlier on, and he managed to get it into 9th place after pitting for repairs to change his front wing. So P9 so far for Norman Nato. So we look at Lance Stroll, who's on a lap as he now makes his way round the left-hander. He's currently P3 with teammate Nick De Vries P2. So far both GRMs doing a good job clear this track, suiting to both Stroll and De Vries at the moment. As now Stroll gets the car tucked in through the right-hander. Under the hotel section he goes, and let's see where Lance Stroll will place himself on this lap then. Up towards the second to last corner goes Lance Stroll as he makes his way up towards the final turn. And Stroll now then is going to cross the line, and let's see where the teenage Canadian can manage. Can he get the pole back from Felix Rosenqvist he lost earlier? And no, he can't. He doesn't improve and remains third behind Rosenqvist and behind teammate De Vries. Here comes Matsushita. Round the final 2 turns he goes. That's Rosenqvist behind him at the moment, looking to improve on his current pole time. In fact, I do believe that is him. In fact, yes, it is Rosenqvist. Round the final turn goes no behind Matsushita as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes Matsushita, and he remains 13th with that lap. Rosenqvist doesn't improve on his current pole time at the moment and remains on the time that he's currently on. Giotto crosses the line, improves, but only up to P11. So only P11 for Luca Giotto at this stage. Sirotkin, of course, his teammate having a qualifying ban, same with Sean Galal and Joel Eriksson. Here comes Sergio Sette-Camara. Is this an improvement? It isn't. He remains 14th with that lap there then. Jolyon Palmer on a lap, currently in the cusp of the top 10. And let's see where Palmer will end up on this flying lap. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Jolyon Palmer, as he will now cross the line. And he doesn't improve, remains 10th with that lap. So that's that for him really. Lucas Jura on a lap in the Vortex. Jura now then coming across the line. And let's see where he'll end up. He improves, but only by 2 places. He only goes up to 16th with that lap. Urishia stays 19th. Gasly remains 8th, like Urishia held him up that time by. Here comes Nick De Vries. Can he improve? No, remains 2nd and unable to beat Felix Rosenqvist at this stage of qualifying. This Tictum has gone out onto the track, as Vips has also now just gone out onto the track. So both RSPCA racing cars out there on the track as Tictum makes his way around the triple right-hander. Round the turn he goes before going under the hotel section. And Tictum about to start his next flying lap as he flicks the car in through the turn. Up towards the second to last corner we will go. Tictum about to start his next flying lap round the final turn. And onto the pit straight we will go. As Sino goes down the pit straight and in towards turn 1 we go. Out of turn 1 using the curb on the outside, and then into turns 2 and 3 we will go as he goes flat through these section of corners. As he goes down the hill towards the bus stop chicane. Around the left, then the right, and then into the left-hander again. He'll soon go as Tictum looks to improve upon what is currently P18 for the young Brit, and whether his future in the team whether he'll have a future in the team, it remains to be seen. Same with Yuri Vips. We'll wait and see on that. As heading down the long straight goes Dan Tictum, as he'll soon approach the left-right chicane on the track. And Tictum now then will approach the chicane. Round the left and then into the right he'll go. As he comes off the turn using the curb on the outside, as he'll come down the straight. And heading down this long straight we'll go before approaching the left chicane, which will be turns 1, 2 and 3 of this support pit straight. So far Tictum, the Red Bull young driver in real life, looking to be on currently a very tidy lap, it must be said. But let's see if he is able to keep this up now then, as he makes his way around the corners now then. And now in towards the right hander we go. And then into the left to go under the hotel bridge. Into the left hander we go. And now up towards the final 2 turns then goes Dan Tictum. And let's see what Tictum is able to do then on this lap as he rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight. Tictum crosses the line. Is this an improvement for him? And it isn't. He remains 18th with that lap. As a few more cars coming out of pit lane at this instance. Evans about to start a lap. Anybody else that finished the lap in front doesn't appear like it, so that's that for them really, as Yuri Vips is on a lap in the IFPCA racing car. Heading into the chicane he will go, the Estonian looking to see if he can try and salvage his future if he can. Round the right and left hander he goes, as we now approach the left-hander coming off the turn using the curb on the outside, as we now go into the triple right-hander on the track. And Vips now then flicking the car into the left-hander he goes, as they now make their way around the final few turns. Let's see what Yuri Vips can manage then on this lap, as he'll now approach the second to last corner. And then up towards the final turn will go Yuri Vips as he heads down the pit straight. And Vips now then crosses the line. Is this an improvement? It isn't, in fact. He remains 15th with that lap there then. So no improvement for him and no improvement for teammate Tictum either. As we now look at Evans, who's on a lap in the Vortex Racing car, currently lying in 5th place at the moment in this session, looking to improve if he can. As he flicks the car around the left hand. It's been an up and down season for Evans, it must be said. Anyway, looking to wrap up the season on a high if he can. After what has been not the season he would have wanted. He was expected maybe to try and challenge for the championship again, but again, that ain't going to be the case. And whether he'll be in GP2 for a 5th successive season, we will wait and see once the silly season opens for GP2. As Evans now then in towards the second to last turn, and then up towards the final corner goes Mitch Evans, and let's see what he's able to do as he comes down the pit straight and across the line goes Mitch Evans, and he doesn't improve, remains 5th with that lap as Jolyon Palmer looks to start a lap himself. As we now look at Lando Norris. Sorry about that, as we look at Norris now then, so currently 6th, looking to improve, maybe to try and get the light-based Sony Racing car on the front row. A lot of people also expecting this guy to challenge for the championship, but he hasn't won a race since the feature race in Bahrain. And, well, pretty much like in real life, to be honest with you. Norris has been struggling to get a second victory under his grasp during the season. He'll be hoping to try and do that if he can in the final weekend, but the championship is already long gone. And I would possibly think that Light Base will probably keep him on for next season, and I would think that Martini would still loan him out to Light Base Sony Racing for next season, because he has got the talent and does appear to be a champion in the series of the future. But we will wait and see how that one turns out. Lando Norris now in the present day crosses the line, and he improves but remains in 6th place, so only still P6 for Lando Norris. Here comes Luca Giotto. He's now going to cross the line, and he remains in 10th, and goes up to 10th, I should say, so gains a place with that lap, as it's still 4th for George Russell, unable to get up close to teammate Felix Rosenqvist at the moment in the session. As we look at Sasha Fenestraz, who's down in 7th place. Fenestraz now then up towards the final 2 turns he goes, and let's see what the Frenchman can do. Up towards the final corner he goes then, as Fenestraz heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes Sasha Fenestraz. Let's see what he can do, and he doesn't improve, remains 7th with that lap there then. As we look at Jolyon Palmer, who will now cross the line, and he goes up to 10th with that lap, so getting into the top 10 just Jolyon Palmer. Norman Nato remaining 9th with that lap, no improvement for the Frenchman there then. Here comes Nobuharu Matsushita, around the final turn he goes, and Matsushita is now going to cross the line, and let's see what he can manage. And he does not improve, remains 13th with that lap. Here comes Alex Lynn, as he now comes up towards the final 2 turns on the track. Lynn now then just going around the right-hander, as he will now approach the final corner, and onto the pit straight he will go, and Lynn crosses the line, and he goes up to 16th, so only gaining a place there, but Lynn again struggling in qualifying, must be said. Nick de Vries, can he improve on his lap? Across the line goes the young Dutchman, and he doesn't, remain 2nd with that lap. Rosenqvist, speaking of which, doesn't improve and remains on a 1 minute 513 at this stage of qualifying, and still currently holding on to the pole position. Louis Razia back out on the track, currently P12, as he looks to try and get the Willows Grand Prix car into the top 10 if he can, as he makes his way around the 90-degree right-hander, then into the left before going under the hotel bridge. Into the left-hander he goes, as he comes off the turn before approaching the final 2 turns on the track. And Razia now then around the second to last turn, and then up towards the final corner we will go, as they come down the pit straight. And Razia crosses the line, and he's about to start his lap now then, as he makes his way around turn 1 on the track. So he comes off the turn, out of turn 1, then into turn 2, and then around turn 3 we will go, as he heads down the hill towards the bus stop chicane. And so through the left, then the right, and then into the hairpin we will now go. And now through the left-hander. As he comes down the long straight. And Razia now then will approach the left-right chicane on the track with just over 8 minutes to go in this qualifying session to determine the grid for tomorrow's feature race here at Abu Dhabi. As Razia flicks the car in for the left and right-hander. As he comes off the turn using the curb on the outside as he makes his way down the support pit straight. And then into the chicane we will go. And Razia now then into the left-hander. And can he try and get the car into the top 10 this time by? As he'll soon, I think he's just past the end of the second sector. He's now in the third sector. And Razia looking to improve if he can. Round the triple right-hander he goes. Round the right and then into the left and then into another left he will go as Razia approaches the end of the lap now then. And let's see what Louis Razia can manage then with this time. In towards the second to last corner and then up towards the final corner goes Louis Razia. And let's see what he's able to do now then as he comes down the pit straight. Razia crosses the line and he doesn't improve, remains 12th with that lap there then. So that's that for him as Lucas Yora rounds the triple right-hander on the track. As Yora coming around these final few turns as he makes his way out of the turn now then in towards the final two corners. Let's see what Lucas Yora can manage then on this instance. Round the final turn and onto the pit straight he will go now then, and Yora is now going to cross the line and he doesn't improve, remains 17th with that lap with just over 6.5 minutes remaining in the session as Tictum and Vips and a few more cars are about to start their laps. Here's Lance Stroll looking to improve on third place. He just comes out of the chicane heading down the support pit straight. And Stroll looking to improve on his third place if he can as they now approach the chicane. Breaking into the turn we will go. Round the left, then the right, and then into the left-hander again. And so they come off the turn, round the left-hander we go. As they use a tad bit of curb on the outside in towards the triple right-hander. And now into the right-hander we go. And so now into the left-hander. As Stroll now then comes out of the turn heading in towards the double right-hander. The final two turns on the track. Let's see what Stroll can manage then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight we will now go. As Stroll now then crosses the line and he remains third with that lap. No improvement for Lance Stroll. So George Russell now then makes his way around the final two turns. Is Russell going to improve as he starts his next flying lap? Same with Giotto and a few more cars that are currently behind him. Dan Ticktum on the lap, currently down in 18th place. Will this be an improvement lap then for the Brit as he goes down towards the triple right-hander? As Ticktum looks to improve on his current lap time, which has currently got him in 18th place. Round the right-hander he goes, and then into the left-hander goes Dan Ticktum as he makes his way into that left-hander, coming off the turn, and then into the final two turns then goes Dan Ticktum. And let's see what he's able to do then. Round the second to last corner, and then into the final corner will go Daniel Ticktum. Can he improve on this lap then as he comes down the pit straight? Ticktum now then goes across the line, and he improves but remains 18th with that lap. So no gain in position, but an improvement on lap time. That is. So here's Yuri Vips, his teammate, and it looks like he's now possibly out-qualified him now in this session. Vips currently 15th. Can he try and get up a little bit more in this session? Into the final turn and onto the pit straight goes Yuri Vips. And let's see where Vips will end up as he will now cross the line. And he stays 15th with that lap. No improvement for Yuri Vips. And this will be their last weekend known as RSPCA Racing, as they'll be rebranding as Red Rose Racing next season. Same with their IndyCar team as well. And just to let you know, IndyCar pre-season gets underway in 5 weeks' time. as Sergio Setikamara improves but remains 14th and starts at the top 10. Norris goes up to 3rd with that lap, so Norris gets himself into the top 3. A big improvement there for Norris. Van der Straat remains 7th with that lap, still 6th for Evans that time by. So an improvement for Norris to get himself up into 3rd place. There's George Russell. Can he improve on his lap now then? Russell into the final turn and onto the pit straight. He will go now then as he comes down the pit straight. Russell now then is now going to cross the line, and he doesn't improve on his final flying lap. Remains in 5th place, and all things looking good for Rosenqvist to wrap up the championship tomorrow. And at the moment, it looks like he'll up the gap to 16 points. It remains like that. Kyoto improves but remains in 11th place at the moment in the session. Here comes Nobuhiro Matsushita in the Holy Trinity racing car. Across the line he will go, and he remains 13th with that lap. So P13 for Nobuhiro Matsushita. Santiago Urisha goes up to 18th with that lap, gaining a place. So P18 for Santiago Urisha. And so that's that for him really, as here comes Pierre Gasly, as he's currently 3.5 seconds. He's currently 3.5. He's got 3.5 litres of fuel, and he'll have one more flying lap to do, as we have just under 3 minutes remaining in this qualifying session to determine the grid for tomorrow's feature race here at Abu Dhabi, as Gasly makes his way around that chicane. Up towards the left-hander we will go, as he comes off the turn. In towards the triple right-hander we will go now then, as Gasly prepares to start his next flying lap. So everybody else around him at the moment, apart from probably others that are coming out, is coming back into the pits, as here comes Gasly then, about to start what I would think will probably be his final flying lap. Well, it says he's got at least 2 more flying laps left, but given the amount of time left in this session, it will be Gasly's final flying lap as he comes down the pit straight now. Then Gasly starts his lap as he makes his way into turn 1 on the track. Round the left-hander he goes, as he comes off the turn using the curb on the outside, and then into turns 2 and 3 he will go, as he sweeps his way round the right-hander, heading down towards the bus stop chicane on the track. The sparks coming off the back of Gasly's car. Around the left, then the right, and then into the hairpin he will now go. Around the left-hander he goes as he heads down the straight now then towards the chicane. And let's see what Gasly will be able to do then on his lap. Just under 1.5 minutes left in this qualifying session to determine the grid for tomorrow's feature race here at the Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. Round the left, then the right, as they come down the straight now, then heading in towards the chicane on the track. And so now into the left chicane, which is the first corner of the support pit straight. So far a tidy lap for Pierre Gasly as he enters his final weekend in IFMC GP2 before moving to the top class next season with Shadow Mercedes, being loaned out by Etihad Racing. As now we go into the triple right-hander. So through the triple right-hander then goes Gasly as he makes his way into that right-hander, and then into the left-hander he will go. And now up towards the left-hander we will go now. Then goes Gasly as he makes his way down towards the final 2 turns on the track, into the second to last corner, and then up towards the final turn will go Pierre Gasly as he makes his way round the final corner and onto the pit straight we will go. Gasly now then is going to cross the line, and he goes up to 4th with that lap, so a big improvement for Gasly. It's P4 for the Frenchman, so P4 then for Pierre Gasly, as we have 17 seconds left on the clock. Here is Alex Len. I think he'll just about start his next flying lap as he now approaches the final turn. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of the session. Len just able to get another flying lap under his belt. Stroll has just made the cusp, has just missed the cusp, so for him it looks like it's just going to be a mileage run for the Canadian, but a good qualifying session nonetheless to be in 5th. Not quite a 3rd place start, but his teammate looks to be on the front row, so it will be interesting to see what De Vries can do tomorrow in the feature race as Stroll finishes off his mileage run there, and that will be him done then. Here comes Jolyon Palmer now then, he's about to start his next flying lap. Sorry, he's about to complete his lap. Palmer crosses the line and remains 10th. Rosenquist doesn't improve and remains on a 1 minute 43.513. Nato just doing a mileage run, as is Razia and De Vries and Seti Kamara. As we look at Alex Lynn then, who's on a lap as he comes out of that chicane. Heading down the support pit straight on the track, as he will make his way into the left chicane. And let's see what Lynn can do now then, as the spots continue to come off the back of his car. And now through the chicane he will now go. And Lynn just going around the chicane. And Lynn just going around the triple right-hander, as he will now approach the hotel section around the right, and then into the left-hander we will now go. And in towards the next left-hander then goes Alex Lynn, as he comes off the turn heading in towards the final 2 corners goes the Brit. Into the second to last corner, and then up towards the final corner goes Alex Lynn. Can he get the Macamo car into the top 10 as he heads down the pit straight? Lynn now then goes across the line. Is this an improvement? It is. He goes up to 9, so Lynn gets into the top 10, and it's P9 for Alex Lynn, and I think that's going to do it. I think it's because of Sergei Sorokin in the pits that's preventing everybody getting finished, so we will wait for possibly Lynn to go back into the pits, and then we will fast forward, and then we will go through the results and then end the session there, and then move on to race 1 of IFMC GP3, which gets underway in 18 minutes time as Lynn comes out of the hairpin. Lynn will be going back into the pit. So as a result, it appears that Felix Rosenquist has taken the final pole position of the season to up the gap between himself and George Russell to 16 points in the Drivers' Championship, with Felix Rosenquist now in pole position to take the championship tomorrow in the feature race. George Russell will need a lot of luck on his side if he wants to win, to keep the title fight alive going into Sunday's sprint race. So that will be that then, really, as now Lynn will approach the left chicane on the track, as Lynn will be coming into the pits this time by. Into the chicane he goes as he makes his way into that corner, and then up towards the left-hander then goes Lynn as he comes off the turn using a tad bit of curb on the outside, as he makes his way up towards the triple right-hander, and now in towards the 90-degree right-hander then goes Lynn as he flicks the car in through the section of corners, and now approaching the left-hander, and we'll be seeing Lynn pretty soon once he comes out of the second to last corner that he's approaching, peel to the right and go back into the pits, and I think that will probably prove that it will be Sorokin. That's the reason why it doesn't say qualifying over, and yet it is Sorokin. That is the reason, so we will have to fast forward time as Lynn goes into pit lane. And there are the Macau mechanics just waiting for him now then as he pulls into his box. And that's Lynn's session all but done with then. So we will see if it skips back to Sergei Sorokin, which it does. So let's accelerate the time. And there you have it then. It is Felix Rosenquist on pole position, and it now puts him in pole position for taking the championship tomorrow. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the grid for tomorrow's feature race here at Abu Dhabi. It's Felix Rosenquist on pole position with Nick De Vries in second, Lando Norris third, Pierre Gasly fourth, Lance Stroll fifth, George Russell with a lot to do in sixth, Mitch Evans is seventh, Sasha Fenestraz eighth, Alex Lynn ninth, with Norman Nato in 10th, Jolyon Palmer 11th, Luca Giotto 12th, Louis Razia 13th, Sergio Seta Kamara in 14th. And if we scroll down the rest of the field, it is Nobuhiro Matsushita in 15th, Yuri Vip 16th, followed by Lucas Yora 17th, Santiago Urisha in 18th, Dan Ticktum in 19th, and then it will be Sergei Sirotkin in 20th, with Sean Galayo in 21st and Joel Eriksson in 22nd position, so getting the garage order correct there that time around. So there you have it then. Due to the qualifying bans, it will be Sorokin 20th, Galayo 21st and Eriksson in 22nd. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it for the qualifying session for IFMC GP2. Hopefully we'll be in for a very exciting race in the feature race tomorrow, and will Felix Rosenquist wrap up the championship? We'll wait and see. But stick around now, guys, because coming up next is race 1 for IFMC GP3, which sees Ferdinand Hasberg on pole position ahead of Joseph Newgarden and Sebastian Buemi. So if you want to go and grab a quick drink, then you can. But until then, I'm in JWF1, and I'll see you guys in just a little bit.